Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Roberta, I am so glad that you asked me to do this. So really thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. So, and so I want to welcome everybody to tonight's webinar on thriving as opposed to surviving, thriving in the face of unprecedented changes. Oh my goodness. And so we've got a lot to cover this evening, but I want to introduce everybody to Roberta. Roberta, please tell us why you asked me to do this, because I love your story about this. So please share.
You know, I'm an entrepreneur, a solopreneur. I work at home, and you know, there are certain friends you have in your network that you call for your pep talk or your motivational quote or whatever. That list started to get smaller and smaller. And pretty soon the people I was calling for pep talks didn't sound very peppy anymore, until my list of friends that I had actually reached out to had depleted. And I thought, if I'm the most, if I'm having a bad day and I'm the most positive person in the room, we're all in trouble, because this, and I know why. We didn't know. I could just feel it. It was like a balloon, deflating. And so I thought, what do I do? What do I do? And my sister and Coach Ruben had, she had connected with him through a business network, and I had him on Facebook, and so I'm kind of spying on him and, reading out his biographies, checking out his website. And I thought, maybe if I ask really nicely, he'll say yes, because not only do I need him, but my friends need him too. We're not doing as well as we were, I think, before. And we kind of already live in quarantine, being self-employed. At least I do. I'm at home office, but I still miss that connection we had with people. And finding a normal is hard. And the fires have been crazy. You can't go outside for a walk. I mean, so thank you, Coach Ruben, for being here. I really need you more than you need us right now. And I really appreciate your help. And thank you for recording this so I can share with the people who couldn't make it tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Roberta. Well, I thank you again. I mean, our conversation was so illuminating, and I really had been wanting to do a seminar to make a difference for people for a little while, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity. So thank you again. So let's get started. So let me do just a little bit of shifting here, because I have to shift my screens just a little bit. Just to let you know that everybody's automatically muted when you come on. But what you want to do if you want to speak is you just have to unmute yourself. What I'm going to ask everybody to do is hold your questions till the end if you can, unless it's absolutely necessary that you must ask a question. But we're going to have some Q&A at the end for sure. So I'll definitely be able to do that. In addition, the chat window is open, so you can use the chat window to type in your questions. I will make sure that I will answer any of those questions that you pose. So use the chat window as well. I am recording this, and yes, you will get a link to the recording afterwards. In addition, I'm going to send you the PDF of all the slides from today, and I'm also going to send you resources, all kinds of information relevant to the material that I covered today. And so be prepared for that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for registering to be here. And I want you to be able to share this information. So once you get the recording, please be willing to share this with your friends and family. Okay, so let's see here. I think I'm on to this main screen. Yes, very good. So we're going to talk about thriving as opposed to surviving in the face of unprecedented changes. So we've got a lot to cover, and I'm really excited about this. So get ready. If you want to take some notes, fine, but I'm going to send you everything. And just to let you know that this Roberta, thank you, Roberta, she is the sponsor for tonight's seminar, Make Your Sales Connection. And I'm very excited about what Roberta's up to. And so be sure to contact her if she can be of service. In addition, she's planning on being able to teach people how to actually
Yes.
do what she's done for 22 years.
Yeah.
So she's a great resource for you if you're in business and you need some more help on being able to do that. So let's dive into this material that we're really facing today. So today we are being bombarded by headlines such as these, right? I mean, we are being bombarded every single day. I mean, it's so confusing, and there's so much out there regarding coronavirus. I mean, everything that's going on. And if you look at the statistics, it's frightening. It really is. Now, I'm a public health professional, so I look at this and it scares me, because here's what we see. Over here is the current chart on daily new confirmed COVID-19 deaths per million in the United States, just in the United States. So this is the curve that we see, but this is deaths per million. So comparatively speaking, if we are anything close to what the pandemic was in 1918, 1919 with the Spanish flu, this is the curve. This is where it was. This is where we should be, down here. And this is the other thing I'm really concerned about, is that the flu season is about to hit us. So the winter is coming. So come October, November, this might be an interesting scenario. We don't know yet. We have never seen this yet. So this is a scary proposition. There were 3 major waves in the pandemic of 1918, 1919. If we end up having the same thing, it could be rather alarming. And so it's really interesting from this standpoint. It's very concerning. In addition to that, we've got all kinds of social unrest. We got people asking for universal health care and being able to have United Healthcare for Medicare for all. We've got social unrest in the streets, and we've got all kinds of protests that have been happening. We've got all kinds of unrest around economic unrest and economic justice. And that's really been a concern. And if you're in business, you may be concerned about the economy as well. I mean, if we look, this last quarter, the second quarter of 2020 was catastrophic. I mean, a 32.9% drop in the gross domestic product. All right, that's affecting the economy. And if your business is based on economic growth, well, that's a big hit. In addition, in California, if you live in California, this is what the scene has been like. This is near Oroville, so in California, Northern California. There's been just all these brush fires, and it's been consuming a lot of grass and a lot of brush. It's really been doing a lot. And this is what our day is every single day. If you're in California, this is what you've gotten to be very used to. This is what I do every single day. I'm checking the EPA link on quality of air now, and I'm looking to see what's the air quality. This is from today. This is from today, right here in Fair Oaks, where I live. All right, and this has been a better day. This has been a better day. So we've got a reading that's very, very high. In addition, as you see, Sacramento is in the dark red. It's very, very dark. And this is what it looks like in San Francisco. This is concerning. I have sensitive lungs, so I don't go outside. I'm cooped up. This is isolating for me. We have all kinds of stress that we're facing. This is normal stress that people experience every single day. If you're in business, you have stress. There is no 2 ways about it. It's undeniable. Okay, you have stress just running a business, just being a professional, just being an executive, being a CEO. You have stress. But these days, it's even more. So we have to add to that picture. Okay, we have a lot more stress on the scene for us: politics, COVID-19, racism, economy, cash flow, isolation, fires, health. I mean, there's so much more stress. The people that I'm interacting with, and I asked them to fill out a stress scale. So I have this scale to measure the health impact of being under the state of stress. They are off the charts right now. So it's rather significant. As a health professional, one of the things that we realize is that there are significant effects of stress: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual effects. They affect us. Any stresses affect us in all 4 dimensions of our energy. And there's so many different things. It could be tension in your neck, but it could be sleepless nights. It could be irritability. It could be a lot of different things. And we all have this going on right now. There is so much stress. From the standpoint of psychology and performance, when it comes to professional performance, we actually look at something called the stress curve. Now, when I first saw this, it was very interesting because it really helped me to understand that there is a relationship between stress and performance. So when we have a little bit of stress, too little stress, we call it an underload. And that's when we're really inactive and laid back. The optimal area of stress is this gold and yellow area here. So this is what we call eustress, EU stress. So this is the area where we perform at an optimal level. But then the peak of the curve is when we start to experience fatigue. That's when we are at the peak of the curve. So that's when we're pushing to a point where we're going to start to now have the curve go downward. So once we start to have a little bit too much stress, we start to experience what we call overload, and performance goes downward. And if it continues to be built up in terms of our stress, we get to this place of burnout. This is the area that's very concerning because we now see anxiety and panic and anger. We see this ongoing irritability. We see these lashing out symptoms, and then we see a breakdown potentially as well. From the world of psychology, what we have to be able to do, if we have too much of this in the red zone, the burnout, we have to get people way back, closer to the green in order to recover. So this is really disconcerting because right now, a lot of people feel like this, don't they? They feel like this. It's overwhelming. I hear that word so often. I'm overwhelmed. And this is what it feels like. The reality for us, if we're living in the United States today, we have to recognize something very, very important. Now, if you're in business, you know that change is the only constant thing in life. You know this already. You know, but you weren't expecting this much change. Okay, you just weren't. Nobody was. How do we deal with this change? We turn to the wisdom of Charles Darwin, who said this a long time ago. He said, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. Adaptable. So I want to emphasize that word because that's the theme of what we're going to talk about, is how do we adapt to change? We can't necessarily change the circumstances, but we can learn to adapt to change. So that's what we want to strive to do. That's what will empower us to thrive. So to begin this conversation, let's begin by looking at a context for how we can adapt. I turned to my dear professor, Dr. Michael Kalitsky, who said this in my undergraduate studies many years ago. And he said, remember this, that all of life is in one of two states at any given moment. Either it is surviving or it is thriving, and that's all there is. And he said it kind of like that. And I was perplexed and confused when he said that. And I asked him, are you saying it's just one or the other, Dr. Kalitsky? And he said, yes, I am. I couldn't get it. And he said, just sit with it, Ruben, you'll figure it out. I hated when he said that to me. So I sat with it for 3 years, 3 years. So then I'm in my first year of medical school, and I'm studying in a class called embryology, which is the study of the embryonic period of human development, which is from the moment of conception to the point where everything is there. Now it just gets bigger. After that, we call it a fetus. So this is pretty much the first trimester of a pregnancy. So if you're a mother, you probably remember your first trimester. So the thing about it, early on in our development, we all look like this. This is a ball of cells, and all the cells look alike, and this is a ball, we call it the blastomere phase. But eventually this ball of cells gets bigger, and it starts to get big enough with many, 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 many cells, and then it starts to fold inward and forms a tube of cells that will become the first organ system of the body to become distinguishable and operational. This tube is otherwise known as the neural tube. The neural tube gives rise to the central portion of our brain. So those are the things like the hippocampus, the amygdala, the hypothalamus. And then it also is connected completely to the spinal cord and the central portion of the brain, which we call the limbic brain. So this is our central nervous system. And it's the first system on, and it's the last system off. Now, the professor said something very interesting. He said, once this system is activated, it's on 24/7, and it's the electrical system of the body. It runs the show. So it's always running the body. So your heart is beating all day, all night long. You never have to think about it. That's the central nervous system. So this electrical system of the body, just like any other electrical system of the body, has two currents. It has a positive current and a negative current. So the positive current of the body is referred to as the parasympathetic branch of the central nervous system. So when it is on, the parasympathetic state is on, the parasympathetic current is on, it is affecting every organ system in the body, every cell in the body in a particular way. Now, the negative current of the body is the sympathetic branch of the central nervous system. When that sympathetic state is on, it is operating every organ system in the body, every cell in the body in a different way. And usually they are polar opposite of each other. So these are polar opposites. They're polar opposites. Now, here's what the professor said that got my attention. Once this system is activated, we are operating either in the parasympathetic state or the sympathetic state at any given moment. We can go back and forth between the two, but we're operating only one or the other. I got the connection from what Dr. Kalitsky said, that we're either surviving in the sympathetic state or we're thriving in the parasympathetic state, and that's all there is. Wow, that's profound to get. And when you start to understand the connection here, you start to realize that when we're in the sympathetic state, our body is reacting to stress. We are in the state of survival. It is a primal state. Be able to survive. So our reactions are fight, flight, freeze, and fold. We may recognize that, but even as subtle as a perceived threat is enough to trigger us being in the sympathetic state. So anytime we're worried, anytime we're anxious, anytime we're concerned, we're in the sympathetic state, and we're triggering a whole cascade of hormones, neurotransmitters, and every organ system is affected. Every organ system is affected. And what we now see in the literature is this, that the common thread of all chronic disease is being in the state of dis-ease far too much. Far too much. So heart disease, cancer, diabetes, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, the list goes on. The common thread of all chronic disease is being in the state of dis-ease far too much. Now, you can throw medications at this, but it doesn't change the state. You can throw surgical procedures at this, but it doesn't change the state. So what lifestyle medicine is all about, and we'll talk more about lifestyle medicine a little bit later, is that we're all about being able to fundamentally change the central nervous system state from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. Now, when we're in the parasympathetic state, our body is actually able to thrive and to heal itself. It functions at an optimal level. So the key is not to be able to figure out some short-term fix, but to actually fundamentally shift the central nervous system state. That's what we need to be able to thrive. That's really important for us to get. So in one of my seminars, I talk about the 5 secrets to thriving and living a healthy, happy, healthy and happy life. So these are the 5 secrets that we have total control over to be able to influence our central nervous system state. So I'll give it to you in a nutshell. So here they are. First and foremost are the thoughts that we think. So if we have stinking thinking, negative thoughts, critical thoughts, self-defeating thoughts, we will put ourselves in the sympathetic state. If we use the power of positive thinking, we will put ourselves in the parasympathetic state. Consistent with our thoughts are the words that we speak. If we're critical, cynical, complaining, gossiping, okay, then we're going to put ourselves in the sympathetic state. If we're using positive, uplifting, encouraging, supportive, loving words, compassionate words, we will put ourselves in the parasympathetic state. Now, it's not only the words that we speak, but it's also the words that we listen to. And one of the things I learned from Norman Cousins many years ago is to not listen to the negative words. And he taught me to turn off the news. So I haven't watched the news for 35 years, over 35 years. It's been the greatest blessing in my life. It really has. The third secret are the actions that we take, because actions speak louder than words, don't they? Here's the problem that we face as human beings. We let ourselves off the hook. So the moment we make a promise to others or to ourselves and we let ourselves off the hook, oh, nobody will notice, it doesn't matter, I don't feel like it, whatever the case might be, we're in the sympathetic state just like that. So this is about being able to honor our word and being able to really fulfill on the promises that we make to others and to ourselves. That's the life of integrity. The fourth secret is the company we keep. It turns out in the research that we show very clearly that we are greatly affected in terms of our health by the people that we surround ourselves by. It's really important. So if we surround ourselves by people who have stinking thinking, well, guess what? We're going to be in the sympathetic state, more than likely. If we surround ourselves with people that have powerful and positive thinking, then we'll be in the parasympathetic state. There's a great book, I'll reach over and get this right now. A great book here called Connected. If you want to find out more about the impact of relationships on our health, that's a great book to read. Really phenomenal information. So the fifth secret is the food that we eat. Now everybody says, Ruben, how can food affect your central nervous system? But it does. Everything affects our central nervous system. So the food that we eat absolutely makes a big difference on whether or not we're going to be in the sympathetic state or the parasympathetic state. So if we're filling our body with refined sugar, processed foods, alcohol, all kinds of things, then guess what? We're going to be in the sympathetic state. Absolutely. So we need all the right kinds of foods. We'll talk more about that later. So we have a choice as business leaders. We have a choice in terms of how we create our organization, how we interact with people. We can choose to either be in the sympathetic state. And if we operate that way, we're going to get more of the same. Or we can choose to create being in the parasympathetic state and being able to create cohesive organizations and cohesive relationships with people that we work with. We have a choice. So what I want to talk about today are just three little things to help being able to promote this cohesive relationship and promote a healthy organization and a healthy business. So the framework of what we're going to talk about here, of course, I have to go to my alma mater, UCLA. All right, so we're going to talk about building deeper trust, really an important concept. And then we'll talk about leading by example. And then the final part that I'm going to share with you is how we can build resilience. So let's go to work. Lots to build here. Okay, so the first area that I want to talk about in these times, because if you're in business, your business is built on your relationships. So what we need to be able to do now more than ever is to build a stronger level of trust. Now, I love this picture. Why? Because I can do the same thing with the right partner. It's a great thing, because one of the things I've learned from being a salsa dancer for nearly 20 years is how to build connections with people, how to actually build this really powerful connection. And it's a wonderful thing. It really is. And it's, to me, my partner dancing experience has taught me a lot about leadership and relationships. So the things that I've learned, how do we build trust to this degree where we can actually have this kind of vulnerability and connection? How do we do that? What I've learned is that we need to have constant, not inconsistent, not intermittent, but constant and consistent as opposed to wishy-washy, all right? Clear as opposed to vague communication. My 4 C's: constant, consistent, clear communication. Constant, consistent, clear communication. Now more than ever, the people that we serve need us to build this trust more than ever. We have too much isolation going on. So we need to be able to have constant, consistent, clear communication. This is the foundation for building a relationship of stronger trust. And it really makes a difference. So let that sink in. We've got to be able to be in a place, like for me, when I've got my partner, and I am able to do this with the right partner after practice, of course, okay? It doesn't happen right off the bat, just saying, all right? But it happens with trust. It happens with time and being able to do this. But I have to have the mindset. I have to have the mindset and the confidence to be able to say, I've got you. I've got you. I love this from the movie Superman. Easy, miss, I've got you. You got me. Who's got you? So you have to be a bit of a Superman, all right? You have to have that confidence of being able to say, I've got you. Like no matter what the circumstances are right now, because people are coming to us and they're stressed, and we've got to be able to say, I've got you. I've got you. That's the hallmark of a leader. Speaking of leadership, let's talk about the second thing. How do we become a more powerful example as a leader? I love this slide because to me, leadership is about being able to make a difference for people every step of the way. Walking beside them, hand in hand. And that's leadership to me. Now, I thought I'd share with you, I've been a student of leadership for a long time, but I have a built-in leadership laboratory. I thought I'd share with you. This is my built-in leadership laboratory. So this was taken back at Christmas time. And so this is right before going into the Sacramento Kings basketball game. So these are my 4 boys from left to right. My youngest, Joseph, who just turned 20. My eldest, Aaron, who is 34 years old. And Gabriel, who is 22. And Matt, who is 29. So we have an amazing, fabulous, incredible family. And this is my leadership laboratory. And they are the loves of my life. So this is my leadership laboratory. So I've learned in being a leader that it's important for me, it's imperative for me, whether leading a business or leading my children, it's important for me to be a visibly happy leader, a visibly happy leader. We've learned this, okay? So happiness, I love this quote, happiness, leadership, and high performance are more intricately interwoven than business leaders presently realize. Once they focus on the happiness of their people, leadership and high performance simply start flowing in a positive direction. It really is true. And if you want your children to be happy, their teachers need to be happy. It's really important, and their parents need to be happy. So it's very, very important. So we need to choose to be happy. What we sometimes forget is this, that happiness is a choice. It's a choice, not a result, okay? You will not be happy after you make so much money. No, happiness is a choice now. Nothing will make you happy until you choose to be happy right here, right now. No person will make you happy unless you decide to be happy for yourself now. Your happiness will not come to you from outside of you. No, it can only come from you, from inside. This is really important. One of my favorite affirmation statements that I have many of my clients state is, I choose to be happy. It's a choice. It's a choice. I choose to be happy. Powerful choice. Ray Chambers, who was very successful on Wall Street, he was disillusioned because he had all this money, had everything you could ask for, but he was miserable. And so what he started doing was he started learning about how he could actually be happy. He basically let go of that very so-called successful life and all the trappings, and he started pursuing being happy. And now he coaches CEOs and executives. So Ray Chambers actually was an interview. I'm going to send you the interview between Oprah Winfrey and Jeff Weiner, who is the CEO of LinkedIn. And so Jeff has been coached by Ray Chambers in the 5 keys to happiness. So number 1 is live in the moment. Lao Tzu said, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. To be happy, live in the moment. Second key is it's better to be loving than to be right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Give up being right. Let go of the righteous indignation and the attachments. That only causes more stress. Let it go. Be a spectator to your own thoughts, especially when you become emotional and you've got this emotional charge. Let go of that. And then be grateful for at least one thing every single day. We're all blessed. Even though we've got all kinds of stress going on, we've got all kinds of concerns going on, but we are blessed beyond belief right now. So really be grateful for at least one thing every day. And then the key for me to being able to actually take action, you've got to take action. So help others. Get the camera lens off of you and start helping others every chance you get. That makes a powerful difference in being happy. Then you'll be able to really be happy. And when you're happy, then you can lead others. You can lead others more effectively, and you will attract much more positive energy. And remember, so don't forget that a person's greatest emotional need, your customers, your clients, your vendors, everybody, their greatest emotional need right now under these times of stress is to feel appreciated. So now more than ever, we need to make sure that people feel appreciated. Don't just have these complaint sessions. All right, let those go. Focus instead on appreciating each other. That will serve you and them much more so. So to help you, I've got a couple of reading assignments, okay? Here are the reading assignments. These 2 books, if you haven't read them already, they are fabulous. The 5 Love Languages, if you have a personal relationship, and then if you have an organization, absolute gold is the 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. Absolutely phenomenal. So here are the 5 languages in a nutshell. So number 1 is tangible gifts, because some people, not everybody, but some people love getting gifts. All right, so you give them the gift card from Starbucks, they love that, okay? But not everybody does. Some people would rather have your quality time. They'd rather spend time with you. All right, that's more meaningful, and they feel more appreciated when that happens. Other people, they need to hear it. They need to hear you say thank you. I appreciate you. Other people need to feel it, and they need to feel the high five or the hug or the fist bump or whatever the case may be. Of course, it always has to be appropriate, right? And then other people still need to know that you're going to pitch in and serve them with acts of service when they need your help. So those are the 5 languages of love or appreciation. Everybody's usually wired to have 1 or 2 of those be the strongest and most predominant language. So you need to figure that out. If you have trouble remembering these 5 languages, simply remember tacos. Yeah, tacos. If you remember tacos, you can remember the 5 languages. So here's how you remember the 5 love languages, okay? So words of affirmation, your tacos are delicious, okay? Acts of service, I made you these tacos just for you. Okay, receiving gifts. Oh, I went down to our favorite taqueria and I got you this taco for you. And then quality time. Oh, let's go out for tacos together. And then my favorite, physical touch. Oh, let me hold you like a taco. So a little humor is always helpful in times of stress. All right, so now let's dive into the 3rd area. So the 3rd area is rather concerning. So here's what we have to deal with. Right now, we've got a very, very glaring statistic. We've got 157 million workers with chronic disease. So high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, physical inactivity, obesity are rampant right now in the United States. We have the highest rates of chronic disease on the face of the planet. And it's costing all of us, it costs the workforce $36.4 billion from missing work. It's really a significant problem. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm launching my Lifestyle Medicine in the Workplace program. I'm really excited about that. I'll tell you a bit about it later. But it's really to be able to address this issue in the workplace. And we have a problem. So how do we address this? How can we address this? All right, these wellness programs that they've been rolling out for years haven't done a darn thing. They haven't. They've been absolutely useless. So we need to be able to build resilience. So this is my friend Nimai Delgado. All right, so I think you can tell he's pretty strong. Okay, he's pretty darn strong. So building resilience. Now in psychology, we refer to resilience as the capacity to prepare for disruptions, recover from shocks and stresses, and adapt, there's that word again, and grow from a disruptive experience. And that's what we need to be able to do right now, isn't it? Yeah. So we need to be able to build resilience. We need to be able to do that. Now, in the light of the fact that we've got so many people experiencing chronic disease and their bodies are not strong, they're not fit, how do we address this? So lifestyle medicine is the foundation of healthcare today. It really is, because 80% of healthcare is chronic disease. 80% of chronic disease is lifestyle. So if the disease is caused by lifestyle, the foundation ought to be a lifestyle treatment. And doesn't that make sense? It sure does to me. And this is from Dr. Wayne Dysinger, who is actually one of the co-founders of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. So briefly, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine since 2004 is an evidence-based approach to prevent, reverse, and treat chronic disease using lifestyle measures, and it's much more effective than medications, and it's absolutely amazing. So when I discovered lifestyle medicine, I've been practicing lifestyle medicine since 1983, since my first year of medical school, and I've always believed in this approach. And I didn't know that there was an actual body called the American College of Lifestyle Medicine until 2016. Went to my first lifestyle medicine conference in 2017, my second one in 2018 after studying for a year, and then I passed my board certification exam. So I'm one of just about 500 people that are board certified in lifestyle medicine. So I am board certified as a lifestyle medicine professional, and I can prescribe lifestyle medicine benefits and make prescriptions for preventing, reversing, and treating chronic disease. And I love it. I love it. I do the same thing the doctors do, except they can manage medications and I have no interest. All right. So it's really awesome. It's really awesome. So I get to live into this quote that Thomas Edison said well over 100 years ago, that the doctor of the future will give no medicine, none whatsoever, but will instruct his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. That's how we can become more resilient and we can adapt to change. So lifestyle medicine, I'm just going to cover a few of these today. I'm not going to cover everything. But here are the major areas of lifestyle medicine that I cover: nutrition, physical activity, emotional well-being, alcohol and tobacco reduction, healthy relationships, hydration, and sleep. So let's examine a few of these, all right? So we want to get started on getting you started to being more resilient, and you want to be able to pass this along to other people. We want to be able to adapt to change, be more in the parasympathetic state. So the first area that I talk about all the time is hydration, 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 hydration. Now I'm a former collegiate athlete myself, and I've coached athletes for over 40 years. I'm still coaching. So my youngest son, I'm working with him. So I'm his collegiate coach right now because he's staying home, and I'm coaching him for this first quarter that he's staying home. So a dehydrated athlete with a 2.5% loss of body weight in the form of water can experience, get this, up to a 45% loss in performance. Whew, that's huge. That's huge. All right, many other complications from that as well. So we need to be able to drink water. And if you're working and you're stressed, you need water. You need water. You don't need the coffee, my friends. You don't need the coffee. And every cup of coffee will dehydrate you an additional cup of water. So get the water. Now, here's the statistics on this. Here's the evidence on this, some of the research. So we show that 5 glasses of water per day decrease the risk by 50% or more of stroke and heart attack. 5 glasses of water a day. Decrease stroke and heart attack by 50%. This should be on CNN every single night. The #1 killer in the United States is heart attack, and #3 is strokes. All right, so we need to be able to be drinking more water. Now, some of you may need to lose a little weight. All right, so you know that. All right, here's what we have, another randomized clinical trial, 12-week clinical study showing that 2 cups of water before meals led to a 44% greater rate of weight loss. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. You don't have to go to Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem or any of those other gimmicks, all right? Look, 44% greater rate of weight loss just by drinking 2 glasses of water before you eat. Huh, this should be on CNN every night as well. All right, so that's extraordinary. So here are my tips for you. All right, drink 2 full 8-ounce glasses of water first thing in the morning as soon as you get up. That's what I do every single day. Hydrates your brain, which is 80% water. Drink a glass of water before and after each meal. Drink a glass before you work out, and 2 afterwards. Follow this, it'll make a huge difference. All right, so that's hydration. Next thing we want to talk about is nutrition. Now, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, the American College of Cardiology, and the American Medical Association in their latest position letter all support a whole food, plant-based diet as the optimal diet for health. All of them, they all support a whole food, plant-based diet. And people who have multi-million-dollar contracts on their bodies, more of them than ever before, are choosing a whole food, plant-based diet. So why would they do this? Why would they do this? They're athletes. They need more protein, right? No, there are 3 major reasons why these professional athletes who are at the top of their game, why they are choosing to use a whole food plant-based diet. #1 is increased energy. You got to have energy if you're going to perform at your best. Decreased inflammation. Inflammation causes all kinds of complications. And 3rd, increased recovery, improved recovery. And so you got to be able to recover so you can perform at a higher level much more quickly. So when it comes to energy, here is the classic study. So let's talk about each of these. The classic study, this was done back in the 70s. I was aware of this a long time ago. So Dr. Astran, what he did, he took a group of college athletes, he put them on a kind of a keto paleo type of diet. And what happened, he put them on an exercise bike and he tested their maximum endurance. So their maximum workout time was only 60 minutes. Then what he did is he added fruits and vegetables to that diet, and he tested them on an exercise bike the next day, and their maximum workout time doubled to 120 minutes. And then he said, all right, let's take out the meat and dairy and just have fruits and vegetables and just plant material. And he put them on the exercise bike, and their maximum workout time tripled to 180 minutes. My God. Okay, this should be on the news every night, okay, as far as athletes are concerned. I always put my athletes on this diet. I always did. I always put them on a plant-based diet. They have more energy and better performance. So why is this? Because if you look inside the body at the cellular level, the body functions like a car. So we need 2 fuels, glycogen and triglycerides. Protein is not for fuel, my friends. It's for parts. All right, that's how so we need glycogen and triglyceride to fuel the engine, which is the mitochondria. If we look at this graphic, the energy molecule of the body is this one, adenosine triphosphate, ATP for short. So we need a little bit of fat to come into the mitochondria to help grease the skids of this process. But the substrate of what we actually break down is pyruvate, which we break down from this human form of a complex carbohydrate called glycogen. Now, the only way we can formulate glycogen is from only two. There are many different kinds of carbohydrates, only two specific types of carbohydrates, amylose and amylopectin. That's it, amylose and amylopectin. Now, I'm sure you have not gone to the grocery store and picked up a product and looked at the label, which I know a lot of you read the labels. Has anybody ever seen a label that says high in amylose and amylopectin? I doubt it. But amylose and amylopectin are what we need as human beings in order to formulate this glycogen. This is human gasoline. We need this. So what glycogen is formulated from amylose and amylopectin, otherwise known as starch. Yes, starch. Yes, starch. This is the cover of the scientific journal, starch. Now, what starch looks like for you and me is this. All right, we got legumes, beans, peas, lentils. By the way, there's over 2,000 varieties. You can't possibly get bored. All right, so then we've got whole grains, not processed grains, not flour. All right, I'm talking whole grains, whole grains. All right, so you got millet, spelt, amaranth, quinoa, oats, brown rice, all kinds. Okay, so we got plenty of different kinds of grains, whole grains. And then we've got starchy vegetables that have a high amount of starch, but all plant foods have starch. But potatoes are fabulous. This is my favorite right here. I eat the gold potatoes all the time. All right, so there's over 4,000 different types of potatoes, sweet potatoes, squashes, all excellent, excellent. All plant material produces starch, including vegetables. In case you forgot what they look like, here's a picture. Okay, so this is the part of the supermarket you want to get to. All right, buy this. This is what you want. And then fresh fruit, not processed fruit, not fruit juices. Okay, we want fresh fruit. It's fine to cut it, okay, but you want to have fresh fruit. Now, that's the first area, is energy. So these foods give us optimal energy. Second reason is to be able to decrease inflammation. So what we show in the research is this, that when you eat meat, dairy, eggs, fish, liver, poultry, all right, all of those have particular compounds called carnitine, phenylcarnitine, choline, and betaine. Those are foreign to the human body. And so what we have to do is our intestinal bacteria called the gut microbiota, we have the specific strain that proliferates when we have animal flesh in our diet. And these bacteria specifically convert these compounds into something called trimethylamine. Trimethylamine happens to be very toxic. It's in the blood. And so what the liver does, it says, oh, I got to detoxify this a little bit. So it's going to oxidize it in the liver and convert it to trimethylamine oxide. And what we show in the research is that this trimethylamine oxide gets it to the bloodstream. And that has been a major contributor to inflammatory processes in the blood vessels, leading to atherosclerosis, heart attacks, stroke, and death. All right, so we want to decrease inflammation. So now here's what we did. The research is this. So we did an 8-week randomized clinical trial to assess inflammation differences in the sickest patients, post-angiography patients with coronary artery disease. And so we did, this is a head-to-head study. We compared the American Heart Association diet, which had meat, dairy, and eggs in it, high protein, versus a plant-based vegan diet. And what we showed is that the plant-based diet resulted in a 32% lower high sensitivity C-reactive protein, which is the marker for inflammation, when compared with the American Heart Association diet. Okay, so that was published in the Journal of the American Heart Association itself. All right, so there's the evidence right there. And what we show is this: the more phytonutrients you consume as an athlete or as a worker or as a business professional, the faster your body can recover from exercise-induced inflammation and oxidative stress. So that's what we want to be able to do. In addition, we need to be able to recover faster. So one of the things that we need to be able to do is recover. We produce lactic acid when we work too hard and we're busy too much. So we produce lactate or lactic acid. So there's a measure of this, and there's an enzyme that's called creatine kinase. So what we've been able to show is this. What we took as a group of athletes, and we measured the creatine kinase. So one of the things that happens in athletes is something called delayed onset muscle soreness. So we took these athletes, and now the normal blood level of creatine kinase is 100. But after a half marathon, right afterwards, that creatine kinase rose to 200. But then over the course of the next 2 days, that creatine kinase rose to 600. All right, so it rose significantly. So then what we did is we took a test group of athletes, and all we did is give them a spinach salad every day before they ran their half marathon. So then they ran their half marathon, the levels rose to 200 as the control group did, but then afterwards it decreased. It did not continue to go up, and they did not have that significant soreness in their body. All right, so this is another thing that's real important, is to be able to recover. In addition, what we have is substantial research showing that a whole food plant-based diet is the only dietary approach that reverses atherosclerosis and heart disease, causes a positive genetic expression at the genetic level, increases the telomere length, therefore giving you a longer life, and demonstrates the best long-term weight loss. So it's rather significant. So we need to be able to do. So I'm just going to show you something really quick. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who wrote this book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Now, in his second study, because his first study was dramatic, but some people criticized him, he said, fine, I'll do another one. So in 2010, he took 198 patients, 177 followed the plant-based diet, 21 did not. He published this in the Journal of Family Practice after a 4-year follow-up. So the ones who did not, now these are people who were sick. They had coronary artery disease. They have established disease already. They were told to get their affairs in order, go home and prepare to die. So the ones who did not follow the plan, here are the results. 62% of them, almost 2/3 of them, within the next 4 years had a cardiovascular disease event. Red is bad, blue is good. All right, red is bad, blue is good. Now, this is what we would expect within 4 years of time. We have many other research studies to validate this and back this up. But the ones who did follow a whole food plant-based diet, all right, so red is bad, blue is good. Here's what happened. Red is bad, blue is good. The ones who followed the plan, and 4 years later, only one person had a coronary vascular disease event. He went to Chicago on a business trip, had a greasy cheeseburger, and had angina the next day. All right. The rest, 99.4%, no cardiovascular disease event. We don't have any drug that comes close. None whatsoever. All right. As Dr. Greger says this, that's all a plant-based diet can do, reverse the #1 killer of men and women. Shouldn't that be the default diet until proven otherwise? I agree. I agree. In addition, when we talk about genetics out of the University of San Francisco, all right, Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn found that a vegan diet caused more than 500 genes to change in just 3 months. In 3 months, turning on the genes that prevent disease and turning off the genes that cause cancer, heart disease, and other illnesses. No other diet does that. In addition, she also led the research on telomeres. Telomeres are the caps of these chromosomes. So the longer your telomeres, the longer you live. So what we showed is that a plant-based diet actually increases telomere length. That's phenomenal. There's no other diet that does that. So what we show is that a plant-based diet also is the most sustainable weight loss that there is. This is published in the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention. They put all the diets head to head, and that's what happened. They won. So what we show in the United States, here's the problem. The average American eats only 12% plant food, 25% animal food, and 63% processed food. That's the problem. So we've got a problem. In Canada, last year, they threw out all the special interest, and they used only researchers, and they redid their food guide, and it's 88% plant food minimum. Minimum. That's what they're doing in Canada. So the benefits of this approach, there's research to back up all of these. There's too much to read. I'm not going to read it all. But there's just amazing benefits from having a plant-based diet. It is clear, it is absolutely clear that this is the most fruitful and effective approach for being able to adapt and be resilient. So remember this, that the food that you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. So you get to choose. You get to choose, because every time you eat or drink, you're either feeding disease or you are fighting it. All right. So That covers nutrition. I'm just going to cover one more, and that's exercise. That's it. So let's talk about exercise. Now, this is the thing we've got to do. I love this because this is me on the left. What fits your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead for 24 hours a day? What's it going to be, boo-boo? All right, so some of you know who boo-boo is. All right, so the thing is we need to exercise. So a daily brisk walk. Now it's hard today because of the fires, okay? So it's hard to do it, but you got to find a way to do it. Something, do something. Do it indoors if you can, but it decreases your risk of Alzheimer's by 40%. And it makes your brain actually work a lot better. And we need to be able to do that. So we need to move. It's very, very important. It also supports nutrition. So we need about 150 to 300 minutes of aerobic exercise per week. And when we do this, we actually decrease the risk of developing dementia. And in addition to that, what we showed in the research is that it actually makes you happier, So we want to be happy. So it's really, really important. Okay, so I covered a lot of stuff. So I'm going to stop here. There's plenty of information here to get you started. I'm going to send you even more slides. All right, so let's see. I've got questions here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Got that.
Do you want me to read through them for you?
No, I got them. I'm reading them. So anyway, okay, very good. Okay, all right. Any other questions from anybody? Go ahead and unmute yourself. I had to sign in. Okay. Any questions about anything? Okay, unmute yourself if you want to ask anything at all. Open to anything. Let's see. I didn't see. Oh, I didn't. Let me see if there's any other questions. I didn't go all the way up to the top. Oh, there's a whole stuff. Okay. Let's see. Yes, this information is not just for business owners. It's for everyone.
Right.
Okay. Yes, okay. All right. Good, good, good.
A new message.
Okay. Anything? Let's see.
Hello, I have a question.
Yeah. Yes,
Hi,
Jenny.
Ruben.
Hi, Jenny.
Yeah, this is me. sorry, I was driving, so I just pulled over to get some gas. I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to ask a question.
Yeah, that's great.
I've had a lot of people ask about having like vegan meals prepared for them. Do you team with anybody that does that kind of stuff where, you know, they could have their meals prepped for, especially a lot of people in the medical industry where they just don't have the time and they want to eat healthy?
Right. Yeah, there are several services that you can have. You can hire your own personal chef, like Chef Anita Fay. She might, I don't know if she's on here today, but she's one of my graduates. She actually does that as a service for people. And then there are things like Purple Carrot and that you can make for fairly quickly. There's all kinds of services available. Yeah, but there are people that actually will do that. They'll actually do the cooking for you or meal prepping for you and make it easy for you. So there's lots of options there. Really great question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else? Who else? I'll stay on and answer all your questions. I'm not leaving, okay? So I'm not leaving.
So we talked about normal, right?
Normal?
What do you do when you feel like normal? Like one day I wake up and our power's out. The next day I wake up and there's a fire. And then, every day I feel like I'm trying to find a new normal. And I'm not sure exactly how to, to adapt to that.
Right.
And in fact, my sister saw me. I was like really overwhelmed, high anxiety, power was out, blah, blah, blah. All these things were happening. It wasn't, nothing's been normal for so long. And every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, what's my normal today? Like, what's the mindset I need to have,
really
to keep
great
myself
question.
healthy and, productive.
Yeah, really great question, Roberta, because I think the problem that we face is this, we're looking for normal, how it used to be, and trying to get back to what we knew and what we're familiar with. But like I said earlier, the only constant that there is change. So to help us shift, we need to let go of, I just want things to be normal again. Let go of that. That's an expectation. So what we need to actually, so here's an invitation. What I invite my clients to think about is to really be grateful for where you are right now. Really practice gratitude. And it's, instead of saying, I just want it to be normal, what can I be grateful for right now? Mm-hmm. And to really practice gratitude. Now, Tony Robbins, one of my favorite teachers, he says, when we are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Fear disappears and abundance appears. So one of my prayers that I say, I have a prayer of gratitude that I say every single day. In fact, I'll include it in the email. Thank you, God, for everything. For everything indeed is a blessing. My life is completely wonderful. I have no complaints whatsoever. Thank you for the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives each and every day. Thank you for this food to nourish our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our souls. Thank you for this precious time that we have right here, right now, the present. And thank you for love that brings us together. For all there is pure love. We willingly and joyfully choose love. We choose love. We choose love. And if you can say that about a dozen times a day like I do, if you say that about a dozen times a day like I do, that will ground you. And so that's a great question that you asked. Thank you. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Roberta. Okay, great. Who else? Who else? Questions? Fire away. Anything. That was a great question.
So drinking water before meals instead of with meals is better?
What we show in the research is that if you want to lose weight, drinking water before meals is actually excellent at being able to, there's a lot of different reasons for that. It actually helps in being able to lose weight. You don't eat as much, you feel more satiated more quickly. And the body's actually usually more dehydrated than it is hungry. So our brain receptors kind of fool us and we think we're hungry when we're actually thirsty. Most people don't drink enough water. So it really helps us to not eat as much food because we're getting our needs met in terms of the hydration for our brain. So that's one of the reasons that is really helpful for us. You can drink water during your meal as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we show in the research that if you really want to optimize your body's physiology, it's best to drink at least one glass of water before you go to the meal. And in fact, if you go to a lot of restaurants, notice that oftentimes they'll actually pour out a glass of water before your meal. You want to drink that water. So I hope that helps answer that question.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, another question. Any question?
Yeah. Hi, this is Celeste.
Hi, Celeste.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. So nice to have you here.
Yes.
So what's your question?
My question is about water.
Okay, good.
Does it matter the temperature of the water?
Great question. So the temperature of the water, what we show in the research is this, that it's more of a sense of preference than a physiological difference in the temperature itself. So once you drink the water, what happens is that within a matter of a few seconds, it's going to get up to about 98.6 degrees in your stomach. So it won't take long. It'll warm up. However, what we do show is that there is a preference that some people actually feel better drinking cold water. Some people feel better drinking room temperature water. Some people feel better drinking warm water. So it's all a matter of preference, and it really, so there's no physiological difference in terms of the temperature of the water, but it is a matter of preference. And if that works for your brain, then do what works.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Coach Ruben, we have a new question at the bottom from Lucy.
Okay, great. Lucy, okay. What is a good book for a young football player who may be interested in eating a plant-based diet after watching The Game Changers? Oh, good question. Okay, so a young football player, what I would recommend is the book Shred It. Shred It. Okay, Shred It. It's a fabulous, fabulous book written by Robert Cheeke, Cheeke. It's fantastic. In addition, Have him watch my video on my YouTube channel, The Truth About Protein. That's one. And the other one I would have him watch is Optimal Athletic Performance at Any Age. And so those two videos would be really great. All my boys have been athletes, and so I've trained them well. And so those are really two very good seminars that I cover. And those will really do great for for that young football player. So
how do you get to your videos?
Oh, how do you get to my videos? Really easy. So you go to my website, which is www.coachruben, COACHRUBEN. It's right behind me. Okay, so coachruben.com. And then at the top, there is a toolbar and it says videos. You click and it'll take you right to my YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Lucy. Yeah, who else? Next question. Hey, Stan, good to see you. You got to unmute yourself. Okay, great. All right, questions. Mark, do you got a question from New York City? Come on, man.
Oh, you can hear me now. Okay.
I can hear you now, Stan. Yes.
You know, I read everything on health, and I'm a big believer in plant-based. But I got to tell you, this ongoing debate about saturated fat, starches, blah, 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 it drives everybody crazy who reads all this stuff. Everybody's got science behind it. They're all big names. Some saying saturated fat will kill you. That says that's old research. That's not the new thing now. Good fats are okay. Blah, 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 blah. Drives me nuts.
Yep. Totally got it.
Question, I don't know what they asked, but I mean, I know you ain't lying, but so does everybody else claiming they're not, you know.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. You've been to my seminars before, and so you've seen the chart that I've posted that the chemistry, and this is one of the things I've talked to biochemists about this. It's just really crazy. So the chemistry of saturated fats is the closest thing that's more closely related to plastic, motor oil, diesel fuel, and gasoline. All right, it's just this long hydrocarbon. So the thing is, it doesn't really provide the biological activity in the body because we don't have the enzymes to really break it up and be able to utilize the smaller change. So we can't break it up into the small fatty acids, which we could use. So it doesn't get broken up so easily because we don't have the enzymes, the capacity to do that. So the saturated fat basically ends up getting rolled up and being formulated into more cholesterol, which we don't need. So that's the problem with the saturated fat. I mean, it really is. If you wanted to really go at a microscopic level, but the thing is, here's the other deal. The other deal is that the saturated fat is going to cause a sympathetic response. Now, you don't see research on that yet. Eventually, we will. Okay, we will start to see that the sympathetic, because foods cause a central nervous system response. This is one of the things that I challenge so many people on. And it's really powerful when you really look at this, because Dr. Daniel Amen is doing a lot of research on brain scans. And so one of the things that I want to be able to do, this is one of my future research studies that I would like to partner with him and actually do, is to show the neurological effects of food on the brain without even ingestion, just put it on top of the body. And so that's radical. It's radical research.
Ruben, you've got to follow, and I forget all the names. I mean, you see all these new discussions of people talking about saturated fat. We've been wrong all these years. Where's all that coming from, if you're right? I mean,
follow the money, follow the money, follow the money, follow the money. Yeah, there's a lot there. Okay. All right, next question. Next question. Mark, you got a question for me yet? I got to have a question from my brother. Mark, you got to unmute.
There is a question from Carrie.
Carrie, all right, Carrie.
See at the very bottom.
Not so much a question, more so. I mean, I'm going through a lot right now. I'm sure everyone here is.
Yeah.
Really honored to be in this group with you. I've known Ruben now for how many years has it been, Ruben?
It's
you go back at least 5 or 6.
Yeah. Oh, it's been longer than that.
More longer than that, right?
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this 2020 has been a horrendous year, not just with the pandemic, but
Yeah.
my 83-year-old dad, he's in hospice now. My mom broke her hip.
Yeah.
A lot of stress, and being on here, it just reinforced the notion that one slide you put up there about happiness being a choice.
Yeah.
You can't wait until you lose X amount of pounds or wait until the situation gets better to be happy.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me. The other thing is, health is more than just weight loss.
Yeah.
It's the mental, physical, social, it's the finances, it's hydration, it's sleep, it's everything. But
Yeah.
it's one step at a time.
Yes, it is. It's one step at a time. Really great. Thanks for sharing that, Mark. Let me go to the question by Celeste. There's so much info now on the ketogenic diet for diabetes longevity. My thoughts on this. Okay, so here's the thing. We've got, from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, we have many doctors that have come out very strongly to demonstrate the research on this and actually show that the ketogenic diet is extremely harmful in the long run. Okay, you may get short-term results. Okay, and there are many ways, by the way, there's many ways to lose weight. There's many ways to knock out diabetes. I had one of my clients, he was in the hospital and after a traffic accident, and he was on an IV solution for 3 weeks. His diabetes went away. Okay, that is not a good way to knock out the diabetes, okay? All right, so there's many ways in which diabetes can go away. So a lot of people think, I just want to get rid of this diabetes. That's foolish, okay? Because, I mean, you can lose weight. I mean, I'll take you out to Death Valley. There's Badwater Creek. I'll leave you out in the middle of Badwater Creek for about 2 weeks with 10 gallons of water. You'll lose weight, guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. But it's not healthy and it's not sustainable. So we show in the research that the only effective way for being able to reverse diabetes, and by the way, we have research going back over 75 years on being able to do this, is to be able to shift to a low-fat diet, predominantly plant-based. We show this. It's clear. I mean, we have so much research on this. It's phenomenal. It's all there. I have helped so many people to reverse their diabetes. So my recommendation to you, Celeste, is go to my YouTube channel. So go to my website, click on videos, and then watch the video, Freedom from Diabetes. Now, I've helped many people reverse their diabetes. In fact, the latest case was Bob, the most dramatic case, Bob. So Bob came to my seminar reluctantly because his wife had been pleading with him for many years to change his diet and his lifestyle. He had been, now this, Bob's a very intelligent man, very, very intelligent. I mean, he'd been a teacher. He was the school district administrator. I mean, a very, very bright guy. And so, but he was resistant. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to change his diet. So he came to the seminar reluctantly, and it made sense to him. So he changed his diet and his lifestyle. He said, okay, I'm in. Changed his ways on the spot. 3 months later, all he did was attend one seminar, followed everything in the seminar. 3 months later, he was down 28 pounds off of all his medications for diabetes. Completely changed human being. It was incredible and extraordinary. All right. And all he did was attend one seminar. I didn't see him after that until he came up to another seminar. He said, guess what, Ruben? And I looked at him and I go, whoa, what have you been doing? Said, I followed everything you said. All right. So please just watch my video and do everything in the video. Be coachable. Be coachable. All right. Be willing to be coachable and just do everything that I suggest, and it will work for you. I can absolutely recommend that. Let's see. Can I recommend any whole food, plant-based recipe resources for folks who lead busy lifestyles? Recipes and books. Yes, I'm going to send that to you in the email. I've got lots. There's more now today than ever before, and it's remarkable. Really, really remarkable. So I'm going to send you websites. I'm going to send you books, great books to check out. Here's just one I got sitting right here, and this one's called Flavor My Plate. Delicious recipes, absolutely fantastic. All right, and these are all whole food, plant-based. And this is Dawn Hilton Williams, and she is phenomenal. She is absolutely phenomenal. So this is all great, delicious, healthy vegan food, and it's all plant-based, so there's no oil in them at all as well. So really great stuff. I got lots. Okay, any other questions? Questions? Anything else? Anything else?
Somebody asked what the second book that you mentioned about the athletes.
The second book.
First was Robert Cheek.
Yeah, Robert Cheek and Shred It.
Yeah.
No, secondly, I advocated for my 2 seminars.
Okay.
2 webinars.
So
The
just
2
one book.
webinars.
All
So
right.
the truth about protein and optimal athletic performance at any age. So
Thank you.
yeah, so I didn't recommend a second book, just
Okay.
one book. One book's enough. That's a good book. It's a really good book. Okay, anything about reversing hypertension? You want to get rid of your pills? Yes. Okay, again, we show that a whole food plant-based diet is absolutely the best way to reverse heart disease, and hypertension is a marker for heart disease as well. So Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn has done a lot of work on this. We've seen lots of research on this. We have a substantial, but you got to be strict about it. So you have to be strict, whole food, not processed food, okay? No processed foods, and plant-based, not animal-based. So remember, oils are processed foods. Refined sugar are processed foods. Alcohol, processed foods, all right? Caffeine is a processed food, all right? So all these things are processed, so you can't afford to touch the processed foods, especially when you're dealing with hypertension. So you want to be able to do that. In addition, Dr. Michael Greger, you can go to nutritionfacts.org, nutritionfacts.org, and go to that website, and you can put in the search bar hypertension, and there's a whole bunch of videos on hypertension. So things that you can use, including hibiscus tea, which we've shown to be even more effective than some of the medications, is being able to drink hibiscus tea, but you want to change your lifestyle. So the thing about hypertension is that there are several factors that contribute to hypertension, including weight, including lack of exercise, including poor sleep. And sleep is a major factor, by the way. All right, stress levels. So all of these factors. So this is why a lifestyle medicine approach is really effective. So it makes a big difference. So I hope that answers your questions. Yes, you got it. Okay, and then let's see. Another question from Carrie says, I mentioned legumes and whole grains. Where does rice fall into the equation? So brown rice is a whole grain. All right, so brown rice is a whole grain. White polished white rice, so what they do is they basically buff off all the fiber in it, so that strips it. So white rice is more like white flour, okay, so that you lose the fiber. So you want to be able to have the whole grain without stripping the fibers. That's Pillsbury did in the American population, the world population, when it developed the technology to actually strip out all the fiber and just get the endosperm portion of the grain. So there's just that pure white flour. So what we want to be able to do is have the whole grain. So brown rice, I love it. It's really good. So that's what you want to do. So very, very good. Other questions? Berta, you want to say a couple words about what you're coming up? You got a special event coming up. You want to share just for a minute about what that is? Because I'm very curious about what that is.
Oh, my journey?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh my gosh, I have a big announcement. I have been setting appointments for business owners for 22 years. I have the highest cold call ratio in the country, but I've decided to make a change. And I want to kind of do this big announcement on Facebook and let everybody know what I was going to do, what I'm doing. And my business is still open, obviously, but I'm going to be training people now. So I teach workshops. As of October 1st, I'll officially be open. I will teach you how to sell your products and services over the phone, okay? No matter what level you're at, I have a program for you. I have everything from the 7 deadly sins of sales to sticks and stones will break your bones, but words can kill your business, to phone phobia. Maybe you can't even pick up the phone. Maybe you're not even that close. I can help you. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm really excited about that. If anyone's interested in workshops, please reach out to me. I'll put my information in the chat box. And yeah, and if you can come to my event on the 25th, I'd really appreciate your support. You don't have to do anything. It's just more of a listen. Sure. And, it's a big change. 22 years of doing one thing and then maybe changing it up a little bit, it's a big deal. So
I think that's awesome.
yeah.
I think that's absolutely awesome. Really great. Well, I will put your contact information in the email as well, Roberta.
Thank
So
you.
make sure everybody gets that. And then, so really great as well. And let's see. And then for me, just to let you know, so my immersion program is going to happen. So I'm going to have my 12-week lifestyle medicine immersion program. It's going to be online. So instead of the 2 full days in person, I'm going to spread it out over 2 weekends. So starting October 3rd and 4th, and then the 10th and 11th. So I'll send you information in the email. It's fabulous, and invite you to consider putting yourself in the program. It's going to be amazing. We're going to do it all online because I think we're going to be online for a while. So it's going to be a while that we're doing this. And then, let's see. We have another question about, let's see. What about almond milk, oat milk, healthy? Yes, absolutely. But you have to look at the ingredients, all right? Because some of them put a lot of oil in them. So you want to make sure it's just the almonds and just the oat milk. All right, so very, very good.
Ruben, I was surprised you left out your favorite slide of all time.
Which one was that? That we cannot solve our problems with the same thing we used when we created them. Yes, I love that one, yes. But I didn't use that one today, yeah.
Oh, you did.
I mentioned it. Okay, so that's great. All right, thank you all. I'm going to close up here, but thank you, Roberta, for asking me to do this for everyone. Thank you all for being here. I will send you all the information, so look for that in your email box. And then please share this with people. Share my website, share the video channel with everybody. Please, you know, I am passionate about eliminating chronic disease from the face of the planet, empowering every single person to live a thriving, healthy, happy life. And I do these seminars for free because I believe in paying it forward. And so pay it forward. I'm going to challenge you all to pay it forward and make a difference. You may, trust me on this, you may save a person's life by sharing this information. You really may. So, and it's one of the most amazing things to be able to share it with people, and you'll never know until you share it with people. And then it's happened to me so many times where I just share the information, and then 2, 4, 5, 10 years later, I found out, wow, you did, you know, I did what you asked me to do, Ruben, and my life has completely changed. So there's nothing more rewarding, gratifying, or satisfying than to be able to know that you made a difference in someone else's life. So please do that. Thank you again. All right.
Thank you, Ruben.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.